How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be talking about Sylvester fireworks. And if you are from Germany, this may sound pretty familiar to you. So this is one of the craziest things somebody saw in Germany. And I know it starts out pretty heavy. So we are going to check that out and see what it's all about. I believe it is a New Year's thing, possibly, but we shall see.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Kelly again, and welcome back to my channel. Guys, I feel like I have seen a lot of crazy stuff during my travels of the world. I've seen very violent protests happening in Turkey right in front of me, complete with armored vehicles and water cannons and tear gas. I have seen a man in Rome get nipped at by a goose and then proceed to fall down and have an entire seizure episode where his eyes went black and blood poured out of his mouth. And I've been with 300 people simultaneously puking while on a ferry headed toward the shore of Rhodes, Greece. I've seen some stuff, but none of this, guys, compares to the crazy shit that I have seen in Germany. No, I'm not talking about Oktoberfest. I think we've all seen people drink themselves silly and then fall asleep in a pile of their own vomit. Have we all seen that? No, I'm talking about New Year's Eve, or as the Germans call it, Silvester. Now, when I hear Sylvester, I think of the one and only Sylvester Stallone, or I think of Sylvester the cat, which is a cartoon character. But of course, Germans have not named New Year's Eve after this affable cartoon cat. Instead, they named it after Pope Sylvester. But that's not what this video is about. I'm not going to talk about the history of New Year's. I'm going to talk about the crazy shit that ensues every New Year's Eve in Germany, because it's the one time of year that Germans are allowed to legally set off fireworks. And it gets nuts. Look, as you can tell, I'm American, or United States American, for those of you who want to be as politically correct as possible. And every year we celebrate 4th of July or our Independence Day with a lot of fireworks. Cities and towns will invest a fairly good amount of money into putting off like a coordinated fireworks display for everyone in the area, or people will go out and buy their own fireworks. But the laws regulating fireworks really vary from state to state. So some states will let you shoot off pretty good sized rockets. Other states will barely let you hold a sparkler in your hand. I'm looking at you, Ohio. And then there's Massachusetts, otherwise known as the Puritan state, who has just wholesale banned fireworks altogether. But compared to
So in Indiana, where I live, I haven't seen it get crazy. We are able to like set off fireworks, but there are some fireworks that are prohibited for like in town. You'd have to be out of city limits to be able to set them off. And it usually starts from like, actually, I never hear fireworks on New Year's night. Do I? And now I'm going to have to check it out. But yeah, America's not that impressive with the fireworks thing. Nothing like the Netherlands and Germany for sure.
Germany, what we do for 4th of July, I would say is a complete joke. In the European Union, fireworks are classified into 4 different categories based on target height and the size of the explosion. In Germany, as long as you're at least 18 years old, you can buy F2 category fireworks. Now, despite the fact that a regular person can't go out and buy F3 or F4 fireworks, I personally find what someone can purchase within the F2 category to be absolutely insane. So my first New Year's Eve when I was living in Germany, I actually spent in Austria. I had some friends that I went on a snowboarding trip with, and actually one of my friends' family in Austria owns a small hotel that we were staying in, and there's this really fun bar that they have in the basement of the hotel. And as it got closer and closer to midnight, I noticed everyone was starting to egress from the bar to go and watch the fireworks. But I was confused because we were in a very small village in the Alps, tucked away, and I didn't understand how we were going to watch fireworks. There's no way this tiny village puts on a fireworks show. But I followed everybody outside and we gathered around the front of the hotel, and then I watched my friend's 70-year-old father set off the biggest rockets I have ever seen up close in my life. And I just stood there absolutely speechless watching these rockets shoot off of this stand that he had built and explode into fireworks. And the whole time I'm just like, is this legal? Like, this can't be legal. How is this legal? This seems very unsafe. But everyone just seemed to accept what was going on. Nobody seemed concerned except for me. And then for the next 30 minutes, I heard booming explosions echoing off of the Alps all around us because people were setting fireworks throughout the surrounding area. And I was like, all right, maybe this is legal, but I'm uncomfortable.
You know, I think America would be like that, but there's a lot of stupid people out and about here in America that it's like one person ruins it for everybody type deal. But like last year in my town, very close to me, somebody actually let off a firework, kept it in their hand, and blew off like their whole hand. And that was pretty crazy. And he felt stupid and he admitted it, and it was crazy. But yeah, I'm excited to see this.
Flash forward 1 year later, when I spent my first New Year's Eve in Germany. I was in Mainz, which is the city where I was living at the time. And once again, I found myself standing in complete and utter shock by what was going on around me. So in Mainz, it seems like everybody just heads toward the banks of the Rhine River or the bridge there to start celebrating and setting off fireworks. And instead of it being one man setting off fireworks from a stand like what I saw in Austria, it is now hundreds and hundreds of people strewn about, just chaotically setting off their own fireworks. And as it got progressively closer and closer to midnight, the fireworks became more and more frequent, and then they finally hit a crescendo at the stroke of midnight when it seemed like all hell broke loose because of how many fireworks were going off all at once. And I just couldn't believe what was being handled by ordinary people.
That's crazy. Like, that would not be allowed here. That would be nuts to imagine. Man, you guys know how to have fun. The people in Germany, I am so jealous I'm not there having fun with you guys because, I mean, I guess I don't really do a whole lot, but it doesn't seem like there's fun things like that, or we don't go to that extreme for anything, like anything exciting. Even 4th of July, it's like just a 10-minute show and then it's over. So it's like, I don't know.
It didn't seem safe at all. How many fireworks were being set off, the manner in which they were being set off, it seemed so incredibly dangerous to me. And as it turns out, it is quite dangerous. As we all know, drinking and New Year's go hand in hand. So sheer inexperience and lack of any training for properly and safely setting off fireworks, combined with a deteriorated cognizance from drinking alcohol, and finally the ability to contradict the usual rigidness that comes with living in German society, all makes for a scene that should probably be confined to the sets of Hollywood, but are instead being played out throughout Germany every Sylvester. Nearly every year, at least one person will have died from these fireworks celebrations.
What?
And tens more will have a hand blown off, or an entire limb blown off, or they will have to undergo an amputation.
I act surprised with the hand, like with that stuff, but like I don't hear of anybody dying. And that may be
because
true.
they will have sustained such complex and extreme injuries that surgeons have no other option other than to amputate the limb completely. Wow. And so many more will suffer blindness or severe burns. Others experience acoustic shock, or as the military calls it, shell shock. Guys, this isn't combat. They're not in war. This is New Year's Eve. It's a holiday. Now, I thought what I saw in Mainz was sketchy, but then I spent last New Year's Eve in Munich, and that was some next level stuff. Misha and I headed for the Marienplatz, which is the famous square in Munich with the beautiful neo-Gothic style new city hall that's featured in basically every photo advertising Munich to tourists. It's a fairly large square, but it isn't a huge open space, as it's closed in completely by buildings with only 5 or so walking streets leading into it. And as we got progressively closer to Marienplatz, the fireworks got louder, and I was excited. We got there at about 11:30, 30 minutes until midnight, and it was already pretty packed with Germans and tourists. Some people even had suitcases with them, some of whom had just arrived in Munich and were headed to their hotel room when they stopped to see what the crowd was all about, and others because they were bringing...
If anybody's been to this place, please put down in the comments their experience with like how scary it was. Very, very interesting.
That many fireworks with them to the celebration that it was easiest for them to just roll them in a suitcase. There were also these guys, and by guys I mean God-sent angels, with carts attached to their bicycles selling beers and even bottles of champagne. Misha and I bought 2 beers for €4 each, which would have cost $22 each if this had been DC. Actually, this wouldn't have happened at all in DC because it's completely illegal to drink in public here in DC, as it is in most of the United States. And then we found our spot to watch the show. And I say show because it wasn't just about watching fireworks, but about watching the entire thing. The Polizei were out in full force to help try and control the crowd and keep some sort of order. They were walking around in groups of about 5. It seemed like their main objective was to try to keep people from shooting.
So like this isn't a kid thing, so I don't see any like little kids, which thankfully I guess, but like I wouldn't be able to attend this kind of stuff having little children. But I at least would love to experience it one time in my life.
Fireworks at each other, which if you're American and you've never been to Germany for Sylvester, you might be rightfully thinking, what is she talking about? Why would anyone shoot fireworks at another person? Well, it happens, both by accident and purposefully. For the only reason that I can feasibly come up with is because people just go batshit crazy.
I mean, we're allowed to, so... Oh my God. If I could, I would.
This is when I should introduce the idea I have that Sylvester is actually one giant contradiction to many facets of German culture. For example, as I said earlier, people will shoot fireworks, i.e. explosives, at each other in a country where most people vehemently disagree with the lack of gun control laws in the US. The celebration is utterly chaotic in a culture that is normally very orderly. And it is incredibly loud in a society that abides by self-imposed quiet laws. And the fireworks eject an exorbitant amount of pollutants into the air in a country with a society that is very proud of their strict adherence to environmental preservation efforts. Germany's environmental agency has reported that Sylvester fireworks celebrations equate to 15% of annual vehicle particulate emissions in Germany.
Wow.
So back to Munich. As it gets closer to midnight, again, the fireworks become more and more numerous. Misha and I watched person after person run out into this clearing to set up an empty beer bottle from which they would shoot their 30 euro rocket. Germans, by the way, spend over 100 million euros on fireworks every year, and I'm thankful for everyone who is willing to fork over their hard-earned cash to buy fireworks because I get to enjoy the fruits of their purchase. And when the clock finally struck midnight, the fireworks seemed to hit this point of saturation, and I was just in complete awe of it all.
Wow. Oh my gosh. So like I feel like that would be it could be such a positive thing, because if we know we could be little hellions one time a year, maybe it will stop, so much crazy stuff that happens. Probably not. I don't know. That's awesome.
About 10 minutes later, the crowd really started to die down, and there was this massive retreat of people leaving the main square to head off to a party or a bar, or like Misha and I to head promptly to bed because I'm an old lady and can't hang. The walk back to our hotel involved stepping over endless amounts of firework debris, watching countless emergency vehicles zip up and down the streets, and I saw no less than 5 people with bloodied faces being escorted and guided by their friends, hopefully to a hospital.
What the heck?
Experiencing New Year's in Munich was so much more crazy than what I saw in Mainz, and I hear that Berlin has the craziest Sylvester celebrations, which I'm having a really hard time imagining what an escalation from Munich looks like. Now, there's so much more tradition behind Sylvester in Germany, like grilling raclette, watching dinner for one, eating Berliner, for example, but it is these fireworks celebrations that consume my memory the most. I'm very thankful that I got to see it. I'm grateful that I've never gotten injured while being a bystander. And for anyone who wants to experience these Sylvester fireworks celebrations for yourself, I recommend that you go sooner than later, because it looks like Germany might ban it, at least from city centers. There was a poll done, I think just this past year, that found 60% of Germans support the idea of banning fireworks from the city centers. And then the party leader of the Social Democratic Party was quoted saying it can't go on like this about the extreme nature of Berlin's Sylvester celebrations. So what do you guys think?
Man.
For those of you who are German and watching this, do you think that it's as crazy as I describe it to be? Because my boyfriend Misha, who many of you know is German, doesn't seem to think it's that insane. And I think it's because he was brought up around it, and so it's been normalized to him, whereas I just am still in shock by seeing these fireworks, even
I would definitely be in shock too. I would be for it. I mean, but 66%, that's a good majority of people that doesn't agree with having that anymore. And maybe it's already banned in Germany, but don't mess with Germany, guys. Anyway, yes. So please put down in the comments if you guys have been to a Sylvester fireworks show. I want to know about it, and I want to know if you guys agree with still having it or not. And this is a New Year's, this will be my last video of the year of 2022. So make sure you guys like and subscribe, because I have plenty of stuff stored for 2023, and I'm so excited. But yeah, thanks for watching. Have a great night and be safe for the New Year's. Oh, also, if you guys want to put a New Year's resolution down in the comments, that would be cool. I think mine, honestly, would be, I want to be a better mom. I want to be, happy. That's a good one. I want to be happy. So, talk to you guys later. Bye.